Hello, my name's Chrissy, and this is my April wrap-up video. So for the first book of the month, we have Barbarian Mind by Ruby Dixon. This is the fourth book in the series, and it's chicks that get abducted and then crash land on an alien planet and start hooking up with aliens. I mean, what more could you want? This is so good. It's so good. I mean, there's new characters, and every, at least human character, is like very distinguishable, and it just feels so fresh but so cozy at the same time. So this 5 stars, easy, easy 5 stars. And next we have The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin. This I initially got from the library, and it was just such an old and crusty hardcover. I just didn't even want to touch it. So I didn't read it on e-reader, but I did get it on audiobook through Libby. And so this is about it's this guy who has dreams, and those dreams then become true. So he basically alters reality with his dreams, but he can't control his dreams. And so it's an interesting concept. And I was very invested up until like the 60% mark, where the plot just turns in a direction that I didn't want. I was like, I don't care about this other stuff. Like, I care about him being able to control shit with his dreams. But then it just like took this whole turn, and I didn't really like it. I think I gave it 3 stars. Um, wow, I'm gonna like be rating these. I don't even remember what I rated them, but yeah, I was kind of disappointed because I was like, oh, this is really good. I've been wanting to read Ursula K. Le Guin for a while, and then it was like, so. But then I read Beach Read by Emily Henry, and it was my first time reading Emily Henry. It was so good. As soon as I finished this, I ran to the bookstore and picked it up along with her other books. So this was really good. Honestly, I don't even remember it. I don't remember it. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing for me. Because if I don't remember it, then I can reread it. So yeah, this was so good. It's so cute. And this was 5 stars. Easily. And then right after I finished Beach Read, I read People We Meet on Vacation. And I actually liked this one more than Beach Read. I felt like the storyline was so, it was so good. It was so good. Like, I love this one. And I read this one pretty fast. And I read this one physically, through audiobook and through e-reader. So every time like I would read, I would read a little bit on my physical copy, and then I would go to my audiobook and try to find out where I was. And then I would listen to the audiobook and be like, okay, try to find out where I am on the Kindle version. And it was a whole mess. I don't recommend doing that, but that was an easy way for me to read this at all times. When I was brushing my teeth, when I was at work, right before bed, in the morning, like I was reading this book, and I ate it up. 5 stars. Okay. And then I read The Chain by Adrienne McKinty. This was one that I was at my grocery store, and they have a little section for books, and I picked it up, and then I didn't read it for a good couple months, and then I got about 60 pages in, and I hit this part where, oh, this book is about this organization. Well, not organization. I would just say these people that blackmail you. They kidnap your kids, and then they blackmail you to kidnap another kid to save your kid. And so it's a chain reaction. And so I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And so I picked it up. The 60-page mark, there was just this, like, she was able to break into a house through like one Google search, and just like boop, and the doorknob was off, and like she bypassed security, like all these different things. And I was like, this is so unrealistic. Like, I can't stand when books are unrealistic, or they don't they're not consistent with what they're saying. So that just kind of took me out of it. So then I put my bookmark in here, and I put it down, and I never thought it ever again. Never thought about it ever again. But then I had my book cart, and I was putting all the books that I was currently reading or have on hold, and this was on there, and I was like, you know what, like, let me give it another shot, because I was enjoying it up until that point. And so I read it, and I was eating it up. Like, this was so fast paced. It has every point of view from every character. The mom, the girl that's kidnapped, the kidnappers of the daughter, the people that are in charge of the whole kidnapping organization, like everybody. And like the husband, the husband's brother, like everyone has a point of view. So this feels like a really like well-rounded story, because you get all these different point of views, and it's like nonstop action basically. But then there was a couple of points when she's handling a revolver and she's talking about, oh, I know how to shoot a revolver, and I turn off the safety, I cock back the hammer, and I pull the trigger. And I'm like, revolvers don't have external safeties. Okay, I shoot guns, I've shot a revolver, they don't have external safeties. So it was that point again where it's not a big deal, but for me it is, because I'm enjoying this, it's like so good. And then there's that little detail that like takes me out of it. Okay, and then towards the end there's a, underbarrel grenade launcher, right? Because this book gets fucking crazy. This book is like, towards the end, it was just a bloodbath, but like all the way up until that, it was just like, it kind of took you for twists and turns. The twists and turns were really good. But then, this is like really nitpicky, but towards the end, the guy has a underbarrel, grenade launcher, and he tries to shoot it to kill everybody. And then it's like, oh, well, the safety was on, so it didn't fire, and then he got killed. And I was like, my uncle has an underbarrel attachment grenade launcher, and I asked him, because I was like, I'm pretty sure they don't have external safeties, because that doesn't make any sense. Um, and he was like, yeah, no, I have one, and they don't have external safeties. So that really like bugged the crap out of me, because that is such a simple thing. Like, okay, not everybody has an underbarrel grenade launcher. Okay, got that. Get it. Got it. But you can go and shoot a revolver for like 5 seconds for your book, or like just research it, or just like look up a 5 second YouTube video of somebody shooting a revolver so you know how it works. Look up a YouTube video of someone using the underbarrel grenade launcher and see how it works. It bugs me when authors are lazy, and it just felt like it was a little lazy. And then the ending was kind of like anticlimactic, because the entire book was at like 100% intensity, and then the last chapter of the book was just like a 10, and I was like, and then it was just like, okay, it's over. I'm like, so I gave it a 4 because it was really good, but I'm not going to be keeping this. I'm gonna resell it, probably get 5 cents for it. I don't care. um it was a good read, but I would never reread that. That's just something I would not reread. And like I said, inconsistencies like that drive me nuts. So next I have The Risk by St. Abbey. It's the first book of the Mindfuck series, and this was so good. It's super short, and it's basically about this chick that is a she's not a serial killer. I guess she kind of is. But she's getting revenge on people, she's murdering people, and the love interest is an FBI agent. So so good. And then the first book, this book had me, there was a cliffhanger at the end. Like literally, it was like mid sentence, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And then immediately I started the second book and got like 3 chapters in, and then went to bed. But this was so good, because I've heard about this everywhere. I mean, you see that paperback that's like fucking the encyclopedia. So I might be getting one of those, but this was so good, and I gave this 5 stars. Um, and what else can I say? It's really, really short. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's on Kindle Unlimited. I would recommend reading that. If you like um fucked up shit. I like fucked up shit. Okay. The last book I listened to was One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And it's not something that I usually read slash listen to. It's a little bit too contemporary for me, but my fiance had just finished reading it and we watched the movie, and she was like, you should listen to the audiobook. I was like, okay. I listened to the audiobook, and I think it's way better than the movie. The movie doesn't do it justice. The movie, like, there's like 10 or 15 minutes of what's his name? Sam, like in the classroom lecturing all his students. I'm like, this is not important. You could have spent this 10 or 15 minutes building up Jesse and what's her name? Emma? Jesse and Emma's relationship, or you could have built up Sam and Emma's relationship. Like, you could have done a lot of things. Instead, you wasted it being like kind of like silly. I don't know. So the movie wasn't that great, but the book was better. I wouldn't give it like a full 5 star, because it wasn't like, wow, that's so amazing. But the message behind it, I really liked it. It's just like love changes, and like there's different types of love, and I like that. Because it's about this woman, she was married to this guy, yeah, and then he goes missing, and she's moving on, about to get engaged to somebody else, and then her supposedly dead husband comes back. So it's a lot of like internal conflict, and deciding like, you know who to pick and all that stuff. But I really like the message behind it, so I gave it 4 stars. Um, towards the end I was kind of like, okay, hurry up, like get this over with, because I was reading it last night, which was the last day of April, and I I was listening to it and I was like, dude, I just want to finish it before I go to bed so I can include it in my wrap up. Technicality, I mean, I could have finished it today and included it, but whatever. So I ended up listening to it at like 2 times speed. It was like, I was like, okay, great. Yeah, great. The ending was kind of the the epilogue, I think it was. I didn't really like it, honestly. I would have been happier if there was no epilogue, but it's whatever. So those are all the books that I read. Like I went from 0 to 100. I really ramped up how much I'm reading. I'm trying to keep that up and just really, really mood read. I don't want to feel like I have to finish anything, because like the chain, I had that on hold for like 4 or 5 months, and then I came back and finished it. So I know that I'm gonna come back and finish these things. It's just a matter of time, and for me to get in the right mood. Because if I'm not in the right mood for a book, and I force myself to finish it and read it, it's not gonna be as good as it would have been if I would have waited to be in the right mindset for that book. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.